Chairperson of this session and friends. My presentation is about post-2015 developmental agenda of the United Nations and what kind of role open and distance learning systems are going to play in this regard. And what are the constraints, what are the possibilities. Primarily, I will be talking about the experiences which we had working in the Madhya Pradesh, where IGNOU has 2 regional centers. I have been working earlier with the Bhopal regional center, now I am at Jabalpur. In both of these regional centers primarily look after some of the most disadvantaged communities, rural communities and tribal communities of the state. The first thing which I would like to emphasize, that is that in 2015, post-2015 developmental agenda, the main primary concern is about the education. And there has been a very beautiful, very interesting report which from the United Nations has been published just few months back, and which has very categorically emphasized that education is going to be the central agenda, though it is a separate agenda. The Sustainable Development Goal 4 is exclusively for education, but it it is very intimately connected to all the other except SDG 14. It is connected to all those developmental points, all those goals, and that is what makes the education very, very important. These are the SDGs, and my point here is that what is that the kind of state of affairs about education which is there in the country. And if we look at the school education system, we find that there is huge dropout. The people have been in the earlier sessions also have been talking about the school dropout rate, very huge dropout rate in the rural and tribal areas particularly. And there has been an estimate that if 100 persons and 100 students get into at the first standard, then by the time they reach the 10th stage, only 52 of them are actually able to pass out after the 10th standard. Similarly, in the higher education setup, the higher education setup of the country has undergone the dramatic growth. But still, if we find that the gross enrollment ratio, that is a percentage of people who are from the eligible age group, in 1980 where it was 5, in 2012 it was 17.9. And it was not good enough to sustain the economic growth which was required for the country to at that particular point of time. And if we look at the corresponding figures of the other countries, whereas for USA this gross enrollment ratio was 90, and for the global average was 26%, and similarly for it is much below the China. And though we have undergone such a fast growth of during 4 decades, if I say 6-fold growth of the universities, 9-fold growth in the colleges, or the 12-fold growth in the students' enrollment, but still we find that our gross enrollment ratio is so low. Whereas though we have substantial number of students studying under the higher education system, almost 30 million, and at the time of independence this figure was just 1 lakh. But despite such a fast growth, we find that a very small section of our society has been able to take benefit of the higher education. Though we boast to be the youngest economy, youngest country of the world, and we will continue to be young for another 15 to 20 years. And this demographic advantage which we want to make use of, it cannot be made use of as long as we democratize education, as long as we increase our gross enrollment ratio. But how do we do it? So the point is, and then another point which I would like to emphasize is that just giving the people education through the conventional means of education, which I just gave you these figures, means the kind of conventional higher education system based on the classroom type of education, which has been growing so fast in the country, but has not been able to bring the sufficient number of people into the fold of higher education, has basically some fundamental flaws in that. First is that we have been able to serve only those people who are able to come to our classrooms. I would like to emphasize that we are living in a knowledge economy where the knowledge is exploding, we say, and then the knowledge gets obsolete equally fast. And we can claim to be literate only if we can learn as well as unlearn equally fast. because the way there has been an estimate that a computer science student, by the time he leaves his BTech program, this first year knowledge gets obsolete. And similarly in other disciplines also the knowledge is getting obsolete so fast. So what is required is that these engineers or doctors are not going to come to the classrooms to update themselves. Obviously we have to take university to their workplaces. So point is, the educational system, this open and distance learning systems are required not just to serve a kind of people who are very poor. They are required just because we have to take education to the workplaces of the people. And therefore, it is not an option, but it is a compulsion of the kind of age we are living in. We have variety of target groups. If we have to serve, we have to achieve sustainable development goals well in time, then these are the target groups we have to work for. Immediately, plan out innovative courses for them and give them these courses through innovative means at a very affordable rate and immediately to sustain their livelihood patterns. IGNOU has been working with ISRO for almost 2 decades and more than 2 decades, and we have been doing a number of such things which basically conventional universities generally don't do. And let me tell you, from the Jabalpur, we have been running a very important project which is called Rajiv Gandhi project for EduSet supported elementary education, from where we used to develop academic programs, invite rural teachers here and train them, and then develop video programs and then transmit them through our network, and the students sitting in the remote villages used to study through these lessons. And there was two-way interactivity also possible. So technology, we have seen that almost for 7 years we have been running that project. Our experiences are well documented, and we have seen that the students have been well benefited out of them. And similarly, the ISRO has been doing a number of such things for blind people, for Rehabilitation Council of India, or for the mentally retarded people through these kind of technological networks. And we have been trying to, we have done successfully that education, taking education at their doorsteps. Almost more than 30 lakhs students are on the rolls of IGNOU as on date, though it is almost 28 years old university now. And that is the first. We have been actually working on two important parts. First is that giving the technological oriented, technology enabled delivery educational services. Second is that for the students, we also hold face-to-face counseling sessions, and that is again a kind of thing which I would, on which I would like to share my experiences with you. Just I will do. In tribal areas, the population density is so low that our conventional systems are not able to actually cater to. They are not actually able to be economically viable, and that is the reason why we have tried out some new ways of doing the things. And the first is that the mobile study center scheme which we implemented in our region, and that was the first time we did it in IGNOU, and then that scheme was institutionalized within the IGNOU. It was applicable for the entire country. Under that scheme, what we did was that we developed a rapport with the community-based organizations of the villages, and or in some places village panchayats, in some places with the NGOs. And then what exactly we did was we took the rural communities into confidence by way of our association with those organizations. And what we found was that our response for those programs, wherever we did it on pilot basis, the response was extremely good. And I will show you, this is these are the classes going on in the villages of the Dindori. There are significant number of tribal students have taken admission, and earlier there was no enrollment. The moment we did this mobile center type of a scheme on pilot basis, we found that the people came forward in big way. Similarly, under the scheme, what we did was that we camped in the villages and then gave them services right in the, these are through the village panchayats in the Khandwa, where we had sizable number of students taking admission through in the village panchayats. We had a MOU signed with the village panchayats and tried to sensitize the communities through them. And the enrollment earlier, when there was no such association, the enrollment was very less. And the moment we tried to do this, the enrollment suddenly went up. Similarly, we tried many such out-of-box ways of sensitizing the rural communities through the Nukkad Nataks and all. And then the response was very good. These are the numbers which are there for the domestic workers who are living in the slum areas of the Bhopal, and they took admissions in our academic programs, and we gave them services through mobile center scheme right in the slum areas, just within 2 minutes. This is in the case of the Alirajpur. Yeah, and I will just finish it. This is a mobile van which is connected through the VSAT terminal, and we can hold virtual classes through this van, and it is equipped with a computer lab inside this. And this is a van which is the IIT Roorkee has designed for us, and through this we can hold live virtual classes in the remote areas and from any urban location. So these are some of the activities through, which I would like to share, which I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now we have
So
our
this is a
last
new model
speaker.
coming up basically, and let me tell you, these are the initiatives actually which we had taken in Madhya Pradesh exclusively for in this area, and the response has been very good, and that was the reason why this during this last year this mobile e-learning terminal was given to us, through which we are intensifying our operations in the villages. Thank you.